Nick with Sweetwater here, and today we're going to be looking at this delightfully dirty little critter, the Wampler Ratsbane. The little guy I'm stepping on right now is the Wampler Ratsbane mini pedal, and as the first three letters of its name implies, it's based on one of rock's most famous and most used distortion devices of all time, the Rat pedal. In keeping with Wampler's tone-chasing MO, the Ratsbane not only successfully emulates this much-loved pedal's full-range dynamic bite, it also adds some cool new tonal options too. First though, what on earth does Ratsbane mean? I know the word Bane means a cause of considerable stress or annoyance, but was intrigued to find out the exact definition of Ratsbane. So guess what? I looked it up on the Googles, and this is what I found. Yes, my friend, Ratsbane means rat poison. Typical Brian Wampler tongue-in-cheek humour. You gotta love it. Anyway, enough of me. Let's find out from the man himself what inspired him to make this mini bad boy. Over to you, Brian.
Thanks, Nick. Well, I created the Ratsbane simply because I love the rat type circuit. I love a million different variants I've played over the years. And I've always just wanted to create something that was kind of along that sort of line, maybe my own take on it. But I didn't want to do just a straight up clone or a straight up copy. I wanted to put my own spin on it. So that's kind of what I did with this particular pedal. And we'll talk more about that in a minute.
In keeping with the original Rat, the Ratsbane had three controls: volume, filter, and distortion. Now, volume and distortion do exactly what you'd expect them to do. The filter control may well surprise you though the first time you turn it, as it's effectively a reverse tone control. By that I mean your tone gets darker as you turn it up, namely clockwise, and brighter when you turn it in the other direction, namely counterclockwise. Oh, and before I go any further, here's the sound of the 100-watt Katana combo I'm plugged into with the Ratsbane off. As you can hear, it's totally clean, with just a hint of reverb added to cover up my awful playing, and that's it. Here's what the pedal sounds like when the filter control is set to 3 o'clock. Hear what I mean? That was pretty dark, wasn't it? Now I'm going to turn it the other way, namely counterclockwise to about 9 o'clock, and let's see what it sounds like now. That's way, way, way brighter, I'm sure you'll agree. It's kind of counterintuitive to me, but hey, it's all good. After all, it's the Rat way. In fact, I should say, the Ratsbane way. In addition to a super cool graphic and a nice bright I'm on light, the Ratsbane also has a couple of neat switches added as well. The one on the left of the filter control is marked gain, and it's a three-way affair. Let's find out exactly what it does from the Ratsbane creator, our pal Mr. Wampler. Over to you, Brian.
Well, Nick, let's talk about this gain a little bit. Whenever you have this switch right in the middle, then that is the stock Rat gain setting. So meaning not clipping, but the actual gain setting. So if we want more gain, let's say we want not as much bottom end gain, but more mid and higher end gain. So it's a little bit tighter, but still higher gain. We'll flip that switch to the left. Now, if we want all the frequencies boosted, more gain to allow more clipping, then you'll just take the switch all the way to the right position. And that will give you the most amount of gain possible with this distortion knob. Now I should also note the distortion knob itself. I'm going to go a little bit into nerd territory here, so hopefully I don't lose anyone. But with the very earliest Rat circuits, it had a 150K pot, I believe, on the gain portion here. The newer ones I think have 100K. The difference is with the way this circuit is set up, the more resistance, then the more gain you're going to get. This particular, what I did with this circuit, this potentiometer does go to 150K. Just did some tricks there. I thought it was a cool trick, cool little spin, and a little bit of a nod back to the earliest Rat circuits.
That's good flexible stuff. Now the switch on the other side of the filter control is labeled voice, and once again, I'm lazy, so I'm going to ask Brian to explain it. Take it away, my friend.
The voicing switch. Let's talk about this. This is a pretty cool modification to the circuit that I haven't really seen that many people do. Basically what I did is when the switch is to the left, it's going to be more of the traditional rat style thing. So meaning if you played a rat before, you know that whenever you're down below noon, you're more like a lighter overdrive, then it gets into a distortion. Getting past noon, now we start getting into more like a fuzz territory. So it really turns into like a really cool fuzz with the gain up. And that's with the switch to the left. Now, if we want, if we go to the right on the toggle, then it kind of turns into a little bit of a different beast. It turns into more of a tighter distortion. You don't have the fuzz anymore. It's just a higher gain, tighter distortion. So it's a cool modification to the circuit. And I love it. I've always wanted to do that to the rat pedals. And yeah, so I love it.
Many thanks, Brian. So now we know exactly what the switches do, and it's literally straight from the horse's mouth. Not that Brian is a horse, of course. Right, let's listen to the sucker, shall we, using a few different guitars. An Epiphone Standard 60s Les Paul, a Fender Strat with 2 single coils but a JB in the bridge, and a Floyd, of course, and last but certainly not least, a Schecter C1 SLX Elite loaded with a set of fine Fishman-Fluence modern pickups. Now, at the risk of stating the obvious, which is one of my many gifts along with 20/20 hindsight, because the Ratsbane is a mini pedal, there's literally no room at the end for a battery. This will not fit. So you have to use a power supply. While the top panel of the Ratsbane tells you it's cool to use a 9-volt or 18-volt negative center pin power supply, the manual clearly states that the Ratsbane is intended to sound its very best using 9 volts. So that's what I'm using here, an external power supply set to 9 volts with a negative center pin, of course. Right, we're going to start with the gain and voice switches in traditional Rat settings, namely gain in the middle and voice to the left. I'm going to leave all 3 controls at 12 o'clock. Now let's turn the distortion control down to about 9 o'clock and see what that sounds like. And now let's turn distortion up to about 3 o'clock and see what we get. That was pretty cool. Lots and lots of dirty, nasty, desirable gain. Now let's mess with the filter control for a second. I'm going to set distortion back to 12 o'clock and set filter to 9 o'clock and see what we get. Right, let's do the same thing, but this time with the filter at 3 o'clock. Brace yourself for more bad playing. As you can clearly hear, the Ratsbane definitely sounds more like a distortion pedal when the filter is set low so you get more highs. That makes sense, right? Turn the control low to get more highs. But anyway, it definitely sounds more fuzz-like when the filter is set higher because the low end gets a little woolly and fuzzier sounding. And it feels fuzzy too. It's a little saggy, slow and loose, but cool. So a lot of variation just with that one control. And here's that same exact setting, but this time with the neck pickup. Sloppy playing, granted, but that tone was cool. Smooth, compressed, warm, what Clapton might call the woman tone. Nice. Let's quickly see if I can duplicate that fat, singing, almost slash-like tone using the single coil neck pickup in my Strat. I think with the extra control the filter gives me, plus the extra gain the Ratsbane has, I can get in the ballpark. Let's go. Now that wasn't too shabby tonally at all. Playing-wise, but the tone, pretty good. And I've still got gain to spare. Right, enough talking for a while. From here on in, it's just going to be some mediocre to bad playing with a few different Ratsbane settings and random axe changes. Let's have at it. The legendary pedal the Ratsbane is based on is often described as a distortion, fuzz, and overdrive pedal. We've already heard the Ratsbane deliver some pretty awesome distortion and fuzz-like tones. Let's see what it can do regarding overdrive. I'm going to do this by dialing in a crunchier amp sound and sticking with my Fluence loaded Schecter here. Here's my new amp sound with the Ratsbane off. As you can hear, it's kind of in the Marshall JCM800 ballpark in terms of gain. Right, now let's tweak the Ratsbane to push this sucker over the edge of the crunch cliff it's currently sitting on. How I'm going to achieve this is simply this. I'm going to switch the Ratsbane gain switch to the left for more gain in the mids and highs. Then I'm going to take the voice switch over to the right for the extra tightness it delivers. And lastly, I'm going to turn the distortion control way down and crank the volume way up, so I'm effectively front-ending the amp with a little bit of that glorious rat edge. Here's my sound one more time with the Ratsbane off. And here it is with the Ratsbane behaving like an overdrive switched on. I'm pretty sure my good friend Ola England would agree. The Ratsbane chugs. For more information on the Wampler Ratsbane mini pedal, please go to www.sweetwater.com, or better still, call your friendly sales engineer and he or she will be only too glad to guide you through all the many wonderful features of this fine pedal. In closing, while Ratsbane literally means rat poison, I can assure you of this, it's 110% non-toxic to your all-important tone. In fact, it adds both dirt and a lot of life. And that is good, always good. Thank you so very, very much indeed for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, nicely please, and also subscribe. Click here for more videos like this, or start at sweetwater.com for all of your music instrument and pro audio needs. Bon voyage.